what is it that we did in the last class? Okay, and then I'll continue. There was a very small bit left in respiration, which I'm going to cover, and then we'll move on to the next topic. But first, tell me, what is it that you've understood in respiration till now? What is happening? How is the cell gaining energy? What are the different modes that we talked about? Batao. Any one of you.
Ma'am, in the last class we covered we've completed aerobic respiration, then we started with anaerobic respiration, and we discussed the way the nitrates and methanogenesis occurs. After that, uh, after that, we came to the next topic, that was the pathways. In the pathways, we discussed PPP pathway, and the other one, ED pathway, has to be discussed by us today.
Anybody else? So, what is the broader perspective? Where are we? We're looking at some diversity in metabolism as to how a cell, a prokaryotic cell, we are focusing on, how that gains energy. So, respiration, like we said, the motive here is to break down the nutrients or the substrates into smaller molecules, complete oxidation, which is the objective of respiration, and then to gain whatever energy is possible through these substrates. And we started off with glucose, and so when you're talking about respiration, you saw that energy generation or ATP generation could be by either SLP, that is substrate level phosphorylation, which has a minor role in this, while the major energy generated is through oxidative phosphorylation. And in this process वो 3 stages थे जो aerobic anaerobic दोनों में common थे. You know that there was glycolysis, which is breakdown of glucose. Then you had the TCA cycle, and wherein oxidation takes place, complete oxidation, CO2 release होता है. And the third phase was oxidative phosphorylation, and the 3 phases were common between aerobic and anaerobic. Can one of you tell me what was the difference then between aerobic and anaerobic? Just you don't even need to raise your hand. Just tell me what is the difference between aerobic and anaerobic.
Terminal electron acceptor.
क्या होता है
Yes.
anaerobic में? Vichantan?
Anaerobic case. Okay.
Vichantan?
Ma'am, it was nitrates, right? I don't remember
There
it
could be
properly.
various. So there could be. We just talked about two processes, methanogenesis and denitrification. However, I said there could be various anaerobic electron acceptors other than oxygen. So it's just about that. And I also try to explain to you then why anaerobic respiration is less energy efficient compared to aerobic respiration. So after we're done respiration, this basic, the most common pathway followed in aerobic and anaerobic respiration, I moved to uh, an alternating pathway for the first stage of respiration, that is glycolysis के लिए. What we had earlier covered was EMP, that is Embden-Meyerhof Parnas pathway, जहाँ पे glycolysis में glucose 6-phosphate and then break down into 2-3 carbon compounds, and finally we got pyruvate. But then I talked about an alternate pathway to this, which is PPP, that is pentose phosphate pathway. इसका क्या benefit था? Additional, जस्कीन, दीपक या जयेश में से कोई? PPP का क्या benefit था? Why was the cell performing PPP?
मैम लार्ज नंबर ऑफ पेंटोज शुगर्स जनरेट हो रहता है.
और उन पेंटोज शुगर से क्या होता है जयेश?
हाई एनर्जी गेन.
नहीं नहीं, बिल्कुल नहीं, बल्कि पीपीपी में तो कहीं एटीपी था ही नहीं.
बायोसिंथेसिस.
हाँ, बहुत सारी चीजों का. तो पेंटोज शुगर का हम जयेश इसलिए पूछ रहे थे कि अगर पेंटोज बोला मैंने तो तुम्हारे सबसे पहले क्या समझ में तुम्हें आता है, कहाँ पे ये यूज होगा? पेंटोज, राइबोज, डीऑक्सीराइबोज. बोलो, दीपक बताओगे?
मैम इन डीएनए और आरएनए
Correct.
फॉर्मेशन.
हाँ, और इवन एटीपी में नहीं होगा, एटीपी में
Yes,
है ना?
ma'am.
तो बहुत सारे मेटाबोलाइट्स, तो शुगर्स डायरेक्टली अलग अलग फॉर्म में तो होते ही हैं, सेडोहेप्टिलेज वगैरह, एल्डोलेज, कीटोलेज, हमने देखा था कि डिफरेंट फॉर्म्स ऑफ शुगर्स, बट दे आल्सो द प्रिकर्सर मेटाबोलाइट्स फॉर वेरियस अदर मैक्रोमोलिक्यूल्स। ठीक है जयेश? राइबोज बोलते ही सबसे पहले वही समझ में आना चाहिए।
ओके मैम।
पढ़ा है ना बायोमोलिक्यूल्स, ये सब तो पढ़ा है कि एनटीपी का क्या कंपोनेंट्स हैं, ये सब चीजें तुमने कवर की हैं। तो पीपीपी के बहुत सारे एडवांटेज थे, लेकिन अगर तुम्हें अगर साइकिल याद हो, लेट मी स्टार्ट शेयरिंग फर्स्ट। Yeah, so if you remember this, I talked about the oxidative and the non-oxidative phase, and इसमें कहीं पे भी you will not come across ATP being generated, right? So you have NADPH. ये दूसरा रीजन था कि क्यों this pathway is important. NADPH की क्या significance है स्टूडेंट्स? NADPH की क्या significance है, बताओ मुझे। और ये एक बेनिफिट है, ये एक रीजन है कि क्यों सेल यूज करता है पीपीपी। एनाबॉलिक प्रोसेसेस, मैंने कहा था टैगिंग हो जाती है, ये पी इनफैक्ट एक तरह से टैग कर देता है इस रिड्यूसिंग पावर को फॉर एनाबॉलिक रिएक्शंस। याद है किसी को? जस्कीन? बोलो। नो नो मैम, ये बेनिफिट्स थे, ठीक है? इसीलिए अ सेल वुड PPP benefits, PPP has some other advantages when you compare it to EMP. Okay, so and this is how I was showing you how the pathways relate कि कैसे glucose 6 phosphate तक तो common pathway, and then glucose 6 phosphate enters into this, and finally so many rearrangements, aldolase ketolase के function हम आपको बताते हैं, and then it comes back to glyceraldehyde 3 phosphate, जिससे कि एक ATP यहाँ पे generate हो सकता है। Now that was one of the pathways. In fact, PPP is a pathway which is also found in eukaryotes. So this is not something which is exclusive to prokaryotes. Just like EMP, PPP is also a common pathway. But the next pathway that we're going to talk about is another alternate to breaking glucose. But this is exclusively found in prokaryotes. Okay? And that is the ED pathway, which is the so it's actually Entner-Dudorov pathway, and this is especially important because of this enzyme phosphofructokinase. ये kinase याद है तुम्हें? PF के कहाँ यूज हो रहा था? किसी को याद है? kinase EMP pathway kinases दो जगह पे ऑफ फेज में यूज हो रहे थे। phosphofructokinase is when जब हम लोग सबस्ट्रेट लेवल फॉस्फोरिलेशन की बात कर रहे थे, तो इफ यू रिमेंबर दिस वाज अ फॉस्फोफ्रक्टोकाइनेज। कहाँ गया? या दिस इज द फॉस्फोफ्रक्टोकाइनेज, फ्रक्टोज 6 से फ्रक्टोज 1,6 बिसफॉस्फेट बन रहा था। दिस इज एन एंजाइम व्हिच इज sensitive to molecular oxygen. And so in obligate aerobes, in fact, it's difficult for this enzyme to be functional. So most of the highly oxidative organisms, they utilize the ED pathway because the PFK is so sensitive. They utilize the ED pathway because they either lack the enzyme or it cannot be functional. So and of course glycolytic pathway फिर नहीं हो सकता है, fructose 1,6 bisphosphate नहीं form हो सकता है, which is a key intermediate. So the other alternative here is using the ED pathway. There are other bacteria which lack the aldolase that splits fructose. So the next step, if you remember, which splits fructose 1,6 bisphosphate into the two triose phosphate compounds. So even they cannot have a functional glycolytic pathway, hence an alternative is required. The ED pathway, like I said, is exclusively found in prokaryotes. It is usually associated with obligate aerobes. I told you the reason, but it's also present in some facultative anaerobes. In fact, there is one organism which is also of interest to many of the faculty members in the department, that is Zymomonas mobilis. It's a facultative anaerobe, and this organism, it has a lot of economic importance in the sense that it disseminates glucose to ethanol, and it represents a major alcoholic fermentation reaction in a bacterium. So it is used for various as a bacterial cell factory, so microbial cell factory. So that utilizes ED pathway. Now ED pathway में होता क्या है? Of course, glycolysis है, तो glucose is converted to pyruvic acid. But here you will notice that the conversion of glucose to pyruvic acid is in comparatively lesser steps than the EMP pathway that we saw, or even the PPP pathway that we saw. So PPP में pentose units form हो रहे थे. The ED pathway involves the first, of course, the initial phosphorylation, as you saw in glycolysis. And then similar to the PPP pathway, it undergoes an oxidation to form 6-phosphogluconic acid. ठीक है, अगर तुम्हें PPP याद नहीं है तो let me just go back. Yeah. So you see 6-phosphogluconate was being formed, and then it was getting converted to a pentose sugar, which is not the case. This is where it differs. What happens is the 6-phosphogluconic acid is then dehydrated to form what is called as KDPG. It is a key intermediate, that is a keto-deoxyphosphogluconic acid, simply by a dehydration. And it is the KDPG which undergoes splitting. Again, an aldolase is involved here, and this breaks it into a glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate and a pyruvic acid. So look at this 3 or 4 steps which are yielding pyruvic acid. Instantly it's yielding pyruvic acid. अब इसका कुछ disadvantage दिख रहा है तुम लोगों को? Advantage तो ये है कि less number of enzymes, immediately pyruvate is formed, right? And then pyruvate can enter into, you know, it can enter, form acetyl CoA, enter into the Krebs cycle. But कोई disadvantage है इसका? Anybody? Vishantan?
Ma'am, I can't figure it out.
Anybody else? कुछ समझ में आ रहा है? एडवांटेज समझ में आ रहा है? जस्किन?
I know that with very less enzymes, we are getting pyruvate, which can then go into Krebs cycle.
है ना? And glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate फॉर्म हो रहा है, तो you understand कि glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate EMP में एंटर कर सकता है पे ऑफ फेज में. आशी?
यस मैम, ग्लिसरॉल्डिहाइड 3-phosphate वहाँ पे काम आ जाएगा.
तो फिर अभी क्या डिसएडवांटेज कुछ दिख रहा है? ये बोलने के बाद कुछ समझ में आ रहा है? कोई लॉस हो रहा है? हाँ बाबा हो रहा है, मैं इतना पूछ रहा है तो डेफिनेटली हो ही रहा होगा. पायरुविक एसिड जब फॉर्म हुआ तो एटीपी जनरेट हुआ यहाँ पे कहीं पे भी?
नहीं.
जहांगीर नहीं हुआ ना? दीपक?
No, ma'am.
EMP याद
नहीं
है?
हुआ. Yes, ma'am.
तो अगर ग्लीसरॉल्डिहाइड 3-phosphate एक ग्लूकोज से ये स्प्लिट किया है, तो सिर्फ ये ग्लीसरॉल्डिहाइड 3-phosphate एंटर कर रहा है पे ऑफ फेज के लिए, राइट? एक
Yes,
एक
ma'am.
मॉलिक्यूल, और दूसरा नहीं एंटर कर सकता, सीधे पायरुवेट बन चुका है ना?
Yes.
तो अगेन लॉस ऑफ 1 ATP कंपेयर्ड टू EMP. इतना क्लियर है? विशांतन अब क्लियर है?
Yes, ma'am.
ओके गुड. तो या now the difference with EMP, एक तो मैंने तुम्हें बता ही दिया, it differs in 2 significant ways from the EMP. एक, if you noted here, it was generation of NADPH, जो कि PPP में भी हो रहा था, and I told you the importance of NADPH required for anabolic reactions, biosynthetic reactions. And the second is that only one triose phosphate, here you see if this splits up KDPG से, only one triose phosphate enters into the payoff phase, and the other one has directly formed pyruvate. Okay, so only 1 ATP is generated per mole of glucose that is utilized. Okay, so that was a simple pathway compared to pentose phosphate and the EMP pathway. This is just a nice paper that I thought would be of interest to you. So yeah, I'm now switching to the next topic. So that brings us to the end of respiration as one of the means, and we will now move on to fermentation. Okay. अब कितने लोग
I just had a
fermentation?
question.
हाँ, Vishantan, ask
Ma'am,
me.
can a single cell undergo all these three pathways?
Yes. Yes,
Different
yes,
ways.
yes. I'm glad you asked that. I'm glad you asked that क्योंकि जब हम तुम्हें बता रहे हैं कि glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate है तो of course it enters somewhere to generate the energy, right?
Yeah.
But different organisms, like I said, ED is not something which is universal. However, EMP is very popular. Similar to PPP. PPP is also very popular. So in fact, there are many organisms we would have which would have, let's say, just 2 of them instead of all the 3. Okay, or just 1 of them, just EMP. ऐसा भी हो सकता है. But they can have variable. I mean, multiple pathways. और they do have it. NADPH generate करने के लिए या बाकी precursor metabolites generate करने के लिए they do have it. Okay.
Okay.
ठीक है. नाउ टेल मी, तो हम लोग जब वो कर रहे थे कैटाबॉलिज्म देख रहे थे तो आई टोल्ड यू कि या नाउ टेल मी फर्मेंटेशन तो तुम लोग सबने एज बायोकेमिकल इंजीनियर्स यू नो फर्मेंटेशन क्या होता है या उसकी इंपॉर्टेंस क्या है. टेल मी व्हाट डू यू अंडरस्टैंड बाय फर्मेंटेशन. दीपक मुझे बताएगा.
Ma'am, breakdown of glucose in carbon dioxide and ethanol by some enzymes or by some microorganism.
Only ethanol, Deepak. Carbon dioxide and ethanol. Is ethanol the only thing that you get from fermentation?
Ma'am, these are two major products.
और ये कैसे होता है, ऑक्सीजन के प्रेजेंस में या एब्सेंट में? एब्सेंस
In absence of oxygen.
Okay. Jaskin, do you want to add something to fermentation?
That how it differs from anaerobic respiration.
हाँ बताओ.
Like like it ends with glycolysis.
Ends with glycolysis मतलब Jaskin? कर लो, कोई बात नहीं, बैकग्राउंड नॉइज आ रही है तो बोलो. What did you mean when you said?
Sorry, ma'am.
Not an issue, Jaskin. I know सब लोग issues होते हैं. हाँ बताओ.
Like fermentation uses glycolysis, but anaerobic respiration includes like all parts of respiration which take place in the cell.
But anaerobic respiration also uses glycolysis, Jaskin.
Fermentation uses only glycolysis.
Only glycolysis, ये कह रहे हो तुम. ठीक है. Anything else? Anybody else? जयेश, तुम्हें कुछ ऐड करना है? आशी, विशंतन, fermentation जो अभी तक concept तुम्हें पता है.
Produce energy with absence of oxygen mainly तो.
ठीक है. In the absence of oxygen, okay. Anything else?
Ma'am, pretty much what Justin said. Like fermentation involves only glycolysis, while respiration involves everything like TCA cycle, glycolysis, everything, electron transport system.
Yes. Okay, so you have the basic idea of what is fermentation. We will see what is the biochemistry behind it, and also because it is of such high significance to biochemical engineers and to biotechnologists. Well, the definition of fermentation has actually undergone a lot of changes. In fact, the term comes from a Latin verb called as fervere. Fervere matlab to boil. So when fruit extracts or when malted grain were boiled and then acted upon by yeast, there was production of alcohol, which was termed as fermentation. This is a process which you can comfortably say as being the oldest of all biotechnological processes. And earliest products, of course, were fermented beverages. We know of a lot of fermented food as well. In fact, the evidence of fermented alcoholic beverage, it comes from The evidence is that it can date back to something around 7000 BC. The picture that I show you here is actually from an ancient Egyptian artifact, which shows grape cultivation and then wine making, basically. Back then, of course, the basis for the process was unknown. And again, here the contribution of Louis Pasteur is important because he is believed to be the first one to describe the scientific basis for fermentation, late 1800s. And he defined it as respiration without air. Okay. Now we'll see how the definitions have changed. Respiration without air कैसे change होता है ये हम लोग last में towards the end of this talk we will take this up. Now where it is placed, just to tell you that ये stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 की बात हम लोग कर रहे हैं और हम लोग respiration में भी saw कि कैसे a central metabolite, that is acetyl-CoA, is formed, enters into the TCA cycle and oxidative phosphorylation. This is what we have been talking about till now. And in the respiration, we saw glycolysis, TCA cycle, and the electron transport. But what we came across was that in the citric acid cycle, there was complete oxidation of the substrate that we started off with, so glucose in this case. And in the case of electron transport, whether it was aerobic respiration or it was anaerobic respiration, there was an exogenous electron acceptor which was involved. तो वो oxygen हो या nitrate जो भी हमने बाकी reactions में देखा था, denitrification में, methanogenesis में, it was an exogenous electron acceptor that was serving as the terminal electron acceptor. And why I specifically mention this point is because in fermentation, this is what differs besides other features. पहले तो तुम्हें ये concept अपना change करना होगा कि it is only in the absence of oxygen. Okay, so absence of oxygen is not mandatory. Fermentation, as we all know, also happens when there is presence of oxygen. In this case, there is no evolution of oxygen. ये mandatory है, ठीक है? तो whether or not oxygen is present, there will be no evolution of oxygen. Here you have incomplete oxidation, and when I say incomplete oxidation, that gives us the first signal that the energy yield is going to be less compared to when there is complete oxidation. Then there is no electron transport chain. ये जो पूरी chain की हम लोग बात करते हैं, that electron transport chain is not there, which means कि oxidative phosphorylation cannot take place. Okay, so that means कि again the energy is going to be low. Only SLP is contributing to the formation of ATP, and the whole idea was extracting energy from organic compound. And another point that I mentioned was how it's different from respiration. Here, an endogenous electron acceptor, something which is within the cell synthesized by the cell, is used by the cell in the process of fermentation to serve as a terminal electron acceptor. Now we'll see what this actually means, what is an endogenous electron acceptor and stuff. So having said that it has a low yield for various reasons, there's no electron transport chain, only SLP, incomplete oxidation, we will define it as the generation of energy involving an endogenous electron acceptor from the microbial oxidation of organic material. Okay? Both respiration and fermentation, both these processes have involved or will be involving in fermentation, we'll come across it, are involving organic compounds as source of electrons. So we are talking about heterotrophs, chemo-organo-heterotrophs. Okay? Now, the process starts off just like respiration, and glycolysis is a common step. अभी तुम लोगों ने मुझे बताया कि glycolysis happens in both aerobic and anaerobic as well as fermentation. I mean respiration and fermentation. However, in fermentation, the pyruvate made in glycolysis does not undergo oxidation through the Krebs cycle. उन्होंने बोला कि incomplete oxidation होता है. And neither is there an electron transport chain. So you will have immediately a product which is formed. We'll come to what happens in fermentation, but here is where the pathway bifurcates. Okay, so till pyruvate, it is a common pathway. Now, complete oxidation भी नहीं है, energy yield भी poor है, electron transport chain is missing, it's only SLP. So why would a cell then go for fermentation? If it is so poor in energy efficiency, why would a cell choose this pathway? There's several reasons. It might lack in a lot of features that do not permit it to follow the path of respiration. For example, there could be a lack of sufficient amount of the final electron acceptor that you came across in aerobic and anaerobic respiration. So to carry out cellular respiration, but the cell has to make the best out of it. So it would enter into another pathway, which is called as fermentation, which does not require an exogenous electron acceptor, and an internal metabolite can serve as an electron acceptor here. The second reason could be, of course, like you saw in ED pathway, here also there could be absence of genes that make machinery for electron transport system, or there could be very sensitive machinery which is actually affected by different environmental factors, so it's suppressed in most cases. So this could be another reason, that is incapability to synthesize or make the machinery for ETS. And the inability could also be in terms of enzymes which are required in the Krebs cycle. So in both these pathways, the second and the third stage of respiration, if you remember, Krebs cycle में inability हो या फिर functional ETS नहीं हो, तो the cell would require a pathway wherein these pathways are not brought in use. Now the lack of the final electron, this is an environmental factor. It's dependent on the environment actually. But the other two conditions, as you can see, they are genetically determined. So in all these cases, the pathway of fermentation, it serves as a savior. In the case of respiration, as you saw, it was a network of reaction, quite energy intensive in the sense that a very complex machinery is involved. So in the absence of oxygen or in the absence of any of these features that I just mentioned, it is reasonable that the cell extracts whatever minimal energy it can from the sugars by the process of glycolysis. Now, a cell, if it lacks the machinery to perform respiration, or if it is under a condition wherein respiration is not favorable for such an organism, it is important to be able to replenish this NAD+. Okay, if it does not, the glycolysis will stop. So NAD+ has formed NADH, and if this does not go back to NAD+, this is going to stop. So whatever little energy it was able to extract will still not be possible. So in fact, fermentation is a means to regenerate NAD+. Okay. I hope that is clear, students. क्यों glycolysis stop कर जाएगी? Okay, and why one of you has to say कि you understood it. Deepak?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Vishnu. Good. So this is the entire philosophy of fermentation, that you need to, the cell is trying to make the best of what it has. It is extracting energy, whatever minimal energy, and then for this process to continue, NAD+ has to be regenerated, और यही होता है हाँ. Now how it regenerates NAD+? Microorganisms that perform fermentation, they use an endogenous substrate. Okay, so there is no further requirement from the outer environment for any other electron acceptor. It would use one of its own metabolites as the final electron acceptor. Hence, it is called an endogenous substrate. Now, there are various kinds of fermentation, but we will talk about first, in fact, talk about the most common ones, the two most common ones. One is called as lactic acid fermentation or lactate fermentation. इसमें देखो क्या हो रहा है, glucose में, you know, this is a 6 carbon compound, a simplistic figure here, 3 carbon pyruvate बन रहा है, जिससे कि you have 2 ATP yield and 1 NADH. ये आपको पता है, right? Now, in the case of lactate fermentation, it is pyruvate. In the presence of lactate dehydrogenase, it is actually regenerating NAD+. यही objective है fermentation का. It is regenerating NAD+, which can enter into or serve as the requirement for glycolysis. I mean, this was needed, so it can glycolysis. And just for those interested in what is actually happening, I mean, this is the structure of pyruvate, if you remember, and this is how lactate is being formed. No intermediate, pyruvate accepts electrons from NADH. Pyruvate accepts electron from NADH, meaning what is the electron acceptor? And endogenous. When I keep saying endogenous, this is what I meant. It is pyruvate which is serving as an electron acceptor. ठीक है, तो कोई भी exogenous acceptor नहीं चाहिए. The same compound is actually accepting electrons to regenerate NAD+. That is of course one of the most common fermentations that you will come across. Has its own disadvantages as well as advantage. So disadvantage में food spoilage is one of the disadvantage. However, it is also brought to a lot of biotechnological application. And the other one, of course, is alcoholic fermentation, which one of you mentioned as well, ki ethanol ka formation hai. So here, basically, as you can understand, pyruvate being a 3-carbon compound, it has to be decarboxylated to form ethanol, and then 1 CO2 is released. But as you can understand also that this is not complete oxidation, जो हम लोग ने respiration में बात की थी. And again here from pyruvate to ethanol, there is another dehydrogenase which serves the same purpose. NADH is converted back to NAD+, which replenishes the NAD+ that is consumed in glycolysis. Thereby, the process of glycolysis continues. So yeah, these are the two most common pathways of fermentation. Now, but they are not the only products from fermentation. There are various pathways which organisms exhibit. So the idea being, of course, the regeneration of NAD+, but by several means, there can be a range of products that are formed by fermentation. And of course, these are multi-step processes also, not always a single-step process. So propionate, acetate, ethanol, butanol, 2-propanol, of course, lactate is also one of them. This is just to give you, and this is a figure which is also given in Brock and also in Prescott, just to tell you some of the organisms which are involved in this process. So, for example, the homolactic fermenters, they produce lactic acid, and this is important in the case of fermentation of milk and milk products. So, the manufacture of products like buttermilk or cottage cheese or even cheddar cheese, and most of the fermented dairy products. Now, butanol and acetone, if you see, they were discovered as the main end products of fermentation by the organism Clostridium, and Clostridium acetobutylicum tha, which produces acetone and butanol. And this has some significance in the history, in the sense that it solved a critical problem of explosive manufacture. Okay? Acetone is required in manufacturing gunpowder. So it's said to have affected the outcome of World War I. And acetone was then distilled from the Clostridium acetobutylicum ka liquor, the fermentation liquor. Then propionic acid bacteria, they are used in the production of Swiss cheese. It gives a very distinct flavor to the cheese, and there are these holes that entrap CO2, so it gives a different texture. This is of importance as well. But here, the lactic acid bacteria that I'm talking about, it produces only lactic acid. So that is the only product of fermentation. However, there are also heterolactic acid bacteria. Of course, the name suggests that there will be products more than just the lactate. There will be other products also formed. And heterolactic bacteria, what they do, तो तुमने homolactic का देखा कि glyceraldehyde, pyruvate, and directly it forms lactate. In the case of heterolactic bacteria, there's a special enzyme involved called as phosphoketolase. Some of the species of Lactobacillus and Leuconostoc, they perform this pathway. In this pathway, what happens is glucose phosphate is oxidized to 6-phosphogluconic acid. ये तुमने कई जगह देखा है. And this becomes, so this is again a 6-carbon moiety. So that is decarboxylated to form a pentose pathway. Decarboxylate, okay, ribulose 5-phosphate. This also you've seen in the PPP. And then it is the phosphoketolase which actually breaks it, 5 carbon hai, breaks it into a glyceraldehyde 3 phosphate जो कि similar to a homolactic acid bacteria pyruvate and lactate form करेगा. But there is also an acetyl P formed, and this acetyl P gets converted to ethanol. So heterolactic bacteria does not just produce lactate, there's a mixture, you will see also ethanol being produced, and ye in certain biotechnological applications like sauerkraut fermentation, if I don't know if some people know about sauerkraut, it's not very common in India though. That involves heterolactic pathway of generation, just gives another flavor, and you can understand there's a mixture, right? So this is difference between versus a heterolactic pathway. In fact, the most common organism that we talk about is E. coli, and here what you see is mixed acid fermentation. So mixed acid fermentation may you can see that it makes alternative end products and in various amounts. Okay, so this is the fermentation balance that is presented. This is a table from Prescott. Yeah, so there are organisms which are not just making one single fermentation product, but various products. And here I have just listed some of the direct products. I mean, the end products used directly for various commercial applications. So whether it is butyric acid, lactic acid, or any of these compounds, and the organisms which synthesize it. But it is not just the direct product or the most important acid that is produced, which is used up in as a commercial product. You will see that there are in fact a range of chemicals which are synthesized by or which are produced by fermentation. There could be a lot of number of amino acids, antibiotics, of course organic acids, so आपने directly pathway में देखा. Then a number of enzymes which are the side products or the byproducts of fermentation and used in so the process of fermentation is used in their synthesis. Yeah. Okay. So that was about fermentation when there was a carbohydrate available for generation of energy and these products that you saw. Many a times there are conditions which are protein rich. Instead of being rich in carbohydrates, there might be conditions where which are anoxic and protein rich, and in this case fermentation is such a versatile process that it can use up this process is also used up for other substrates, other matlab carbohydrate ke alawa I'm talking about. And what I'm showing you here is called as the Stickland reaction. Stickland is the name of the scientist. So Stickland reaction is also a type of fermentation. Here what happens is this, here there is coupled deamination characterized by oxidation of one amino acid. So coupled ka matlab hai this one particular amino acid undergoes oxidation while it is coupled to the reduction of another amino acid. Okay, so when instead of sugar, like I said, the sole source of C and N is an amino acid, even those can be used up in generating ATP. And what I'm showing you here is just a very simple example of two aliphatic amino acids. तो alanine is getting oxidized. तुम लोग को अगर अपने biochemistry lecture से याद हो कि alanine क्या है और glycine, very simple amino acids that I'm showing you here, but this could be for many, there are many pairs that undergo the Stickland reaction. So glycine is the one which is getting reduced and taking up the amino group from alanine. And the product of oxidation of alanine is again pyruvate, जो central molecule हमने देखा था, pyruvate or acetyl CoA we saw in the earlier processes. Inorganic phosphate, it actually attaches. So if you see once acetyl CoA is formed, तो हो क्या रहा है? Alanine में deamination हो रहा है, and this deamination is resulting into pyruvate. Structure से clear है, just a simple deamination. And then a pyruvate undergoes the same reaction to generate acetyl CoA, जो अभी तक हम लोग देखते आ रहे हैं. And then acetyl CoA can actually take up an inorganic PI, form an acetyl P, which is a good P donor. ठीक है, तो SLP से then acetyl P can form acetate and 1 ATP is generated. And on the other side, the acceptor amino acid is glycine. ये देखो glycine का structure. And then what results is 2 acetate. And the process basically हो क्या रहा है यहाँ पे, जैसे आपने पहले देखा था कि electron acceptor pyruvate था, यहाँ पे electron acceptor is glycine. It is regenerating NAD+. Why? Because you want this step to run. So NAD+ is being regenerated. This is just a simplistic, in fact, this is an example which is in Prescott, hence I took this example, but there are, like I said, various kinds of couples present. And especially this process is found in, this particular process is found in the genus Clostridium, wherein this couple deamination takes place. Yeah, so that is all about respiration. Here is just a comparative to show you how the processes are different. So aerobic respiration में of course aerobic conditions, anaerobic में anaerobic, लेकिन fermentation में it could be both aerobic or anaerobic. Here oxygen is the electron acceptor. In anaerobic respiration you saw that nitrates, sulfates, carbon dioxide could be हो सकता है, but not molecular oxygen. And in fermentation, अब I hope it is clear that an organic molecule or an endogenous molecule serves as an electron acceptor, जिसमें pyruvate हो सकता है, amino acids हो सकते हैं. And of course, in terms of energy generation, both aerobic and anaerobic involve SLP and oxidative phosphorylation, while fermentation involves only substrate level phosphorylation. This is just to show you the numbers, how it could be ranging from 36 to 38 in aerobic respiration, how it could be a little lesser than the aerobic respiration, but in fermentation, you will only see 2 ATP generated. Okay. And this is where it bifurcates. तो एक summary slide की तरह है कि कैसे EMP या aerobic respiration और anaerobic respiration में क्या additional steps हैं, while here it stops here at pyruvic acid and then the fermentation end products. And that is what we have been doing till now. So because in the next class we'll move to something else, we have been talking till now about chemoorganoheterotrophy. Nutrition के class से अगर तुम्हें याद हो तो different sources of carbon, electron and energy से कैसे, so were the different the categorization that we saw there. And till now we have been talking about organic electron donor, whether it was through aerobic respiration or anaerobic, or it was through fermentation. This is all that we have covered in the last 2 or 3 lectures. We have been talking about how organic electron donor helps in energy generation. Okay, so yes, another interesting paper that I thought some of you might be interested in. We will start from here. I mean, this is the topic that we've completed. So now we'll talk about chemolithotrophy in the next class and phototrophy in the next class, which will be the end of the biochemistry lectures for us. So yes, now I'm open to questions. All those out, if you have, please let me know, students. Otherwise, we are done for the day in terms of what I wanted to convey to you.
Ma'am.
I hope.
Ma'am, so the syllabus will be completed by Friday?
No.
Okay.
Friday kal hai.
Yes, ma'am.
You want me to complete it by tomorrow? I can do it.
We also have a class on Friday, on Saturday. Sorry.
Saturday. I know. Saturday ko. There is another topic called microbial pathogenesis, another module, complete module. So that I will do it after the mid-sem break. But if you're so much interested, I can even do it on Saturday. I wanted to reserve Saturday for discussion with the students who are getting some, who have been actually awarded some penalty. So Saturday will be mostly for that. But I will take up chemotrophy. Biochemistry will be, the microbial biochemistry part will be over by tomorrow. I'll try to take up both chemolithotrophy and phototrophy tomorrow itself. Okay. But one module, like I said, will be remaining. Microbial pathogenesis हम mid-sem break के बाद लेंगे. ठीक है? And of course मैंने 15th का announce कर दिया है कि 15th को quiz है ना? तो 15th की quiz के बाद I think I will take in one lecture, I will complete